far, far superior.
Hell yeah.
Doug has the clap. I mean, his clap is far superior to mine. I mean, he makes a lot more noise with his hands. I mean...
Have you got another one?
No, sure. I've run out already.
Oh, mate. You'd be no good on Whose Line Is It Anyway.
Man, did you ever do drama at school?
I did,
or did you do it like a production or anything like that?
Yeah, no, I never was in a musical or a theatre or a thing or whatever like that. Okay. But I did remember taking drama class because I didn't want to do anything too intense at school. Okay. I was really I was a real nerd in like primary school, and then by the time I hit like grade 9, I'm like, man, I got to chill the fuck out. Hey, yeah. So like music class, drama class, Japanese class, because I knew I wasn't going to do very well at that, and I could just cruise in that for a year.
There's a bludge.
Yeah, there's a lot of bludging.
What I found out, I didn't do drama as a subject.
Yeah.
But I did do like the school productions. I did some little theatre after school, all of that sort of stuff. But like if you've ever spent any time around like drama and performing arts people, you know, those sorts of improv games and, you know, warm-up exercises and all of that sort of stuff, I am woeful at.
Yeah?
Absolutely woeful at improv or sort of on the spot, like, you know, that kind of...
Like podcasting. You've outed yourself.
No, just more that like, you know, like they'll drop you into a scene and you've got to like pick up a woeful, absolutely woeful.
Yeah. No, it's definitely one of those things where you have to be armed with you've got to be prepared to start out like your weight training and start with the little weights and just be prepared to do them a lot until you can kind of flex the muscle and get to the point where you can move up, because it is definitely one of those things, if you haven't done it much, your form is poor.
Yeah, yeah.
You know?
Well, I mean, we were talking about this just a minute ago around like things like Robin Williams going and doing like an episode of Whose Line Is It Anyway?
Yeah.
And it's like we were sort of pointing out that is like going to the gym for a comic like that.
Definitely.
That is just like, you know, he is just so on all the time.
Yeah.
That, you know, that show is almost like it's just caters to him.
Definitely, yeah. And because he's already at that high level, right? So if you're going to use weightlifting as the analogy, right?
Yeah.
You want to go and hang out with like other strongmen, right? And you want to challenge each other, and that's where Robin Williams going on Whose Line makes so much sense.
Man, that must have been like the ultimate honor for some of those guys on Whose Line Is It Anyway? Because like that guy's chops were well known well before the 90s.
Yeah.
And like, so for him to come on and consider you a peer.
Yeah.
Oh man,
but also the fact that he'd want to not just consider you a peer, but the fact that he'd want to be on that show, because you imagine it would be 50-50 them getting him and him getting to do that.
Yes, of course.
But you know, there's a lot of, you forget that all these people that are super famous can still be starstruck by each other.
Yeah.
And you'll probably find he's like, oh my God, those guys look like they're so good at that. I want to go up against them.
Yeah. Yeah, you want to be the best, you go up against the best.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah, well, there's a lot of comedians that I follow that say that some of the best things you can do when you're starting out is go and if you can get yourself onto a lineup with a bunch of way better comedians and you're clearly like the least, you know, known or the least favored out of all of them, if there's an opportunity to get up between some great comedians and bomb is actually a great experience. It's a gift because you only get better by challenging yourself, and also if you go up against people like that, you learn off them, you know? Like if every time you go and you do a show, everyone's laughing their head off, but it's only because you go to the places where you're already favored.
Yeah.
You're never going to build muscle.
Totally.
Yeah.
Yeah, just roll out the same old tired 5-minute set.
Yep.
Yeah.
Yep. Yeah.
That's all tried and true. It's going to get old at some point.
Yeah. The only way to grow an audience, right, is to just keep going out and disappoint as many people as possible, so that you can
see what works, what doesn't work.
Yeah.
Speaking of comedians, do you rate a comedian who does a good like destruction of a heckler? Sorry, yeah, of a heckler.
There's a couple of guys. There's a guy called Steve Hofstetter online.
Exactly the guy I wanted to bring up.
He's the guy.
He's the king.
Yeah, well, he's branded himself that way
Yes.
as well.
But at the same time, this is where I come at it from, is like, which came first, the hecklers or the people coming after knowing that he deals with hecklers and be like, oh, I can heckle him, I'll break him.
Does it
invite the challenge is my point.
Yeah, it's kind
Do you
of
mean like in the same way that like superheroes, that whole argument of like, would the villains be there if the superhero wasn't there to challenge, you know?
Yeah, no, definitely. I guess it's kind of the whole thing of like, you know, if you cover yourself in tar and expect not to have feathers stick, you know, like it's the thing of if you're branding yourself as that thing, you just have to know that 50% of the time you do a show, people are going to know who you are and they're going to come there for that. And, you know, there
are so many of them though that are just so clueless and they don't know that it's him. They don't know that he's this heckler guy.
Yeah, you'll never be 100% people in the audience that all get the joke. And that's the problem with that stuff too, is sometimes someone will heckle because they're like trying to get something out of him. And then there'll be someone that will, you know, like go into bat for them and like actually genuinely be like, hey, you can't say that. And it's like, he wanted me to say that. That's why he heckled me. Like, the people that don't get the joke really kind of fuck up the whole, it's like internet humor. It's the whole premise of like the early 2000s internet humor was that you go as fucking hard as you can. And then if someone's genuinely like
incensed at it.
Then like you've won. Yeah.
It wasn't very specific time and age, wasn't it? That early 2000s, the early internet, you know, the jackasses, you know, the dudesons, but then like stand up as well was so raw. And it wasn't, and it's funny, like it's exactly what people are arguing like you should be able to do, was like just be as offensive as you can.
Yeah. No, but see,
there's a real difference. It's like, because like even the comedians today who argue for being able to sort of like make whatever joke you want, even they've pulled back from the line.
Definitely. Anthony Jeselnik is one of my favorite comedians. He's like pretty much he's not quite a one-liner comedian, but he basically is.
Yeah.
And he's done like dead baby jokes and rape jokes and all kinds of stuff like
Jimmy
that.
Carr.
Like Jimmy Carr, right? And you know, there's the way that a comedian gets away with something like that is that they catch you off guard with something. So they use a hard-hitting topic, but then they give you the punchline you weren't expecting. And even if there's people that are like, no, I don't want to hear jokes like that, if you craft the joke properly and with care and attention, you can still evoke a good reaction out of someone. But Anthony Jeselnik has said, in the past, I've done, you know, rape jokes and I still stand by those jokes and I won't back down on them and apologize for them. But I won't personally do any more jokes like that, because since then I've had people in my life where, you know, I've known people that's happened to, and once again, not going to pull those punches I already fucking threw. Yeah. But not interested in making any more jokes about it.
Yeah. That's totally fair.
And people grow and evolve. Some people anyway.
Yeah. What I like about Steve Hofstetter is he's like, he's very intelligent about how he like goes back at the hecklers.
Yeah.
He really does go, no. Like, let's go. Like, he'll like, because the crowd will be going wild. They'll be like, they're like, oh, it's happening. Someone's had a crack at heckling.
Yeah. Yeah.
And he'd be like, okay, calm down. Let's go. And he'll go into like, really? You traveled, you paid all this money? Or, you know, like there'll be people who didn't tip their server or something like that and like snuck out after heckling and all that sort of stuff. And, you know, he'll go into, you know, like what I like is he uses it to like bring around some like good social commentary out of it. So like, you know, there'll be, you know, with that particular one where there were some people who were heckling. Eventually they like, this couple like sneak out from their table and leave the show, and they didn't pay for their tables, I assume food and booze. And he uses it as an opportunity to be like, you know, that's shitty behavior and rah rah. But then like another punter in the crowd like pays that bill and sort of pays it forward, and then like he comes in and like gives a whole bunch of merch to that guy.
Yeah.
As a, you know, and uses it as an like this is how a civilized you know, society operates, you know.
His approach to heckling isn't to find like just completely tear somebody down. It's to go, okay, well what are you about? If you're going to heckle me, I'll heckle you back. But it's never about completely tearing somebody down. It's about like being like, why are you like this? Why are you?
So many times you watch those videos, and there's so many videos that of people heckling him. It's almost every show.
Yeah, but it's because he films all his shows.
Yeah,
though. And so
true.
That's the difference now. Is if you can afford, not even afford to, I guess he's probably just set up a camcorder up the back,
somewhat like this.
Yeah, and it's easy to do, right?
Yeah.
And there's a lot of comedians that film or tape all their sets and may never listen back to them, but they do it so that they've got some logs to go back on and listen to how things worked. Yep. But for him, it's perfect because his whole social media presence is just, if I film my shows, I don't have to give away my bits. On social media, but inevitably someone's going to heckle, and then I've got a bit I can put up.
Yeah, and it's going to be unique every time because it's contextual.
Yep, 100%. Very cool.
That's very cool. And he looks so much like Mike McRae. I want to shout out Mike McRae.
Yeah, no, he does.
Always reminds me of Mike.
No, that's totally, that's correct. Yes, correct.
I can't watch it and not be like, it's Mike.
Yep, that's Mike. Have you got a tune, champ?
Yeah, but again, it's like I seem to be like recycling bands because they've every couple of weeks these bands are releasing new singles and that sort of stuff. So I am going to go back to Shihad again,
right?
Except so this time, it's the new single they dropped last week, called "Feed the Flame."
Yeah,
and it's like. The film clip, it's mostly to do with the film clip.
Yeah.
It's just so feel good and so wholesome.
Right. Okay.
That I just like, I had to talk about it because it's like, so it's just so 2020, 2021, you know, like it's, like the first like minute or so of the clip it's like they're jamming over Zoom.
Yeah, and so I had a feeling Zoom's going to be included, right?
And like they're in their little individual like rooms, and you know, Johnny Two Good's like cooking breakfast. You know, Carl's in the other room, in another room, like playing bass, and you know, just around all these vinyl and like just being cool, and then Tom is in this like room playing drums, like where there's all sort of boarded up and all that sort of stuff. So I've forgotten the guitarist's name.
I can't help you out here.
Yeah, sorry about that. But he's in another room with his kids jumping on the bed behind him.
Yeah.
And then and so one by one they'll like go through a door in the room and they'll end up in the room with Tom playing drums. And so then that's cool. They're all in this little tiny room and they're jamming, and then it like looks like it's like rumbling and an earthquake and all that sort of stuff, and it's like the room's being moved,
right?
And then they bang on the walls and they all fall down. They're on a beach and they're playing on the beach.
Oh, okay, yep.
And then they like all just run down the beach,
right? So they've put some.
It's in New Zealand.
They've put some effort into like there being like a bit of a story kind of in the Yeah, so and it's, you know, it's like rather than just doing what's easy and it's just get everyone to just play in a room and pretend that that's a real music video.
But yeah, it's very well done and it's really wholesome. And like, I know this, you know, obviously they're a New Zealand band that it's like filmed in New Zealand. So Adam Spark from Birds of Tokyo produced the record.
Yep.
But this particular song, it's like less heavy than a lot of the other stuff on the record and on, you know, and certainly the previous two singles. This one, honestly, and again, like they covered a Crowded House song not that long ago.
Yeah, okay.
So it kind of feels like a weird comparison to say like, but it does feel like a semi-heavy Crowded House song.
Yeah.
Like just the way it's sung and the feel and vibe on it, it feels pretty quintessential New Zealand. Like, and it like
they're really just like ringing out the New Zealand's fun shit.
Yeah. And like, I don't know, man. Like maybe it's just because like they were filmed it at home or I don't know. But like, I really like it.
They're allowed to sound like they're from New Zealand.
Yeah, I know.
Yeah. I think that's fair.
Yeah, of course. I'm just saying, like, it just, I don't know. They really looked like they enjoyed themselves.
Yeah,
on that clip,
they're
especially
probably super stoked to get out of the house.
Agreed. And what I realized while I was watching it was that, like, I don't know how much you've dug into their last album, Five Eye.
I haven't listened to any of it, to be honest.
Oh, man.
I'm on a different trajectory.
Absolute belter of a record. It's brilliant, but it's really dark.
Okay.
Really, really dark. And like, it's all about, at the time there was some sort of, like transcontinental like agreement amongst like some of the like largest countries in the world. Like it was called the Five Eyes thing. And it was around like legislation around like, monitoring of the population.
Okay.
And stuff like that. So it was a real concern around like major powers in the world and overstepping their boundaries in terms of monitoring the population, right? And so it was a real like it was an album that was really like wary of the government and I'm not saying that they've like forgotten about that because like the last two singles.
Yeah, definitely.
But that record was produced by Jazz Coleman, who was in the band The Killing Joke.
Okay.
I don't know if you're very familiar with them,
no.
But again, like very dark, gothic, industrial type band.
Yeah.
And that really shone through in like that record. It has a real ominous feel to it.
They know how to get that across in like just the production alone. And
yes. Yeah. And so it really felt, and like Jazz Coleman actually produced one of their really old records as well. And so it was like coming back to him for that one. This one obviously is done by Sparky. Sparky is, you've heard, Birds of Tokyo. He's done a bunch, like, I'm pretty certain he did one of those Calling All Cars records a few years ago.
Yeah.
Like stuff like that. Like he's like, so he's sort of much brighter rock and roll sort of sensibilities, I think. And like this record feels like hope as comparison to really ominous. Like I realized there was I've actually got an interview booked with Tom. I've got a Zoom call with my boyfriend. Lined up next week, and I'm going to ask him about it because I want to know if because that's how it feels. Yeah. So I want to see if that was the actual truth or not. But yeah,
I checked out actually. I've noticed because how long have those guys been around now?
Man, it's like nearly 30 years. Hey.
Yeah, like it's a fucking long time. Right?
Early 90s was their first couple of records.
Yeah, because I saw the promo picture you put up the other day, and fucking old Tommy Larkin is looking just slick as fuck.
Yeah,
like
man.
he's a real what's the best way of putting this? Well, I can't.
Who was it that you said that he looked like?
Who I compared him to, but he just like looks sharper and sharper the older he gets. Yeah. He's those boys they're aging well.
Yeah, absolutely. And there's like Carl's got like his big sort of bun on his head and he's silvery like salt and pepper beard and stuff. I was like,
mate, you just got to learn to embrace that shit.
I reckon.
Yeah, because fuck having a dire beard.
Yeah, like you're not fooling anyone.
It's just too fucking hard, basket. Man.
Yeah,
it's too hard for all of that. I actually welcome grey hair.
Yeah,
like I'm totally open and ready for it. I have no issue with it at all.
Nice.
Yeah,
I will say when I was about 19 or 20, I used to dye my hair super, super black. I had this, it was a color called Damascus, and it was like so black that in the sun, when you like walk outside, it was blue.
Yeah, I know the type. Yep.
And so if you got that, but then you've got a beard that's like a gingery brown.
Yep.
So I used to buy mascara.
Right.
And I'd run the beard.
Different
so at least
time,
my beard
though.
looked black.
Different time though, because the name of the game was get the hair as black as possible.
Correct.
Everything's got to look gloomy.
I wanted to be the only goth in Rockhampton.
Yeah, that was it.
Yeah.
And I'm assuming you probably achieved that.
No, I was very heavily copying my friend Adrian
Right.
at the time. There was no way I could ever be as goth as he was.
Right. Yeah.
But the all black everything has not changed since probably 17 or so.
Yeah, because I remember everyone doing dyeing their hair, like you say, so black that it kind of looks blue, and it almost defeats the purpose. But I was looking at like some old photos and stuff from back in the day, gigs and shit that we used to go to, and yeah, just how adamant everyone was to make their hair as like straight and as black as possible. But like I found a photo.
Have you ever owned a hair straightener?
Did you? No, I never had to because I didn't have long enough hair. But
I definitely have.
My question to you is, if you're straightening your hair that much and dyeing your hair and everything, it kind of kills your hair a bit, right?
It's like straw in the end, yeah.
Dude, did you see the photo I put up the other day?
Yes.
So in my
we need to find
forgotten history.
We need to post on our socials these photos of what we looked like.
Yeah, we're gonna do that. We'll have to remember to we'll link that in. So I, for some reason, decided I didn't want to dye my hair black or anything. I was maybe like 23, 24. I was like, I've never done anything like that. I wonder what it's like. And I bleach blonde my hair like white blonde. Right.
Well, mate, was that because you saw, Bruce Willis do it in The Jackal? Or?
That was probably what it was. Yeah. And I looked...
It had a pretty similar vibe.
I looked 20% as good as Bruce Willis in The Jackal. But it was pretty intense because the thing I didn't realize when you bleach your hair is obviously you're pretty much killing your hair. Yeah. And so the thing that I had to get over from that was like, unless I shave my head, it was a year's worth of growing your hair out to get the regular hair back.
Otherwise, you just end up with looking like you got tips.
But it feels like steel wool.
Yeah.
Right? And it was dead and it fucking sucked to do. And then I went top deck. I got to about halfway where I was like blonde on the top and fucking got the like just the even like brown roots around the bottom. And I was like, I got to do something about this. So I picked a brown color to dye my hair and it came out like kind of red, kind of like a mum in their 50s would do. Yeah, it was all fucking...
Like a chestnut or something.
Yeah, it was all wrong. I had to shave that shit and start again.
Oh, wow. Well, the last time I had to shave my head was I had virtually this haircut, but...
For audio listeners, fuck you. Look at the thumbnail.
I had, virtually a mohawk, but very long. But it had started from a haircut, like a fade.
From the wrong haircut.
And so it had started from like a part, but it was like, so essentially my mohawk was like not centered.
Yep.
And it was just never right. Oh. And my hair got so long and it just got it looked so bad. There's actually nothing I could do with it in the end. So I just had to shave my head entirely. I had never shaved my head before. And I was just like very, very like grateful that I was like, okay, if I ever go bald, I'm sweet. Because I got a nice... I got a nice head.
I don't. I look like I just escaped from jail. Like I got a kind of a weird shaped head, but more than anything, like I had a ID photo for quite a long time where I wasn't fully shaved. I probably had, like sort of like two,
just a buzz,
maybe like 5 mil of hair. And my God, it just made me look angry all the time. And the missus fucking hated it, and she's just like, for the love of God, waiting. I'm not looking at you for like the next 3 months until it grows out.
I mean, you always wear a hat though, so it's like...
Well, no, I didn't at the time. I wasn't wearing a hat at the time, and I don't always wear a hat. The only reason I usually wear a hat is because fucking dandruff is off the charts. Yeah, fuck dandruff.
Can we get a sponsorship from that shit?
Is there like fuckdandruff.com? Can you come in? Because Head and Shoulders, it don't work.
It does. Fuck Head and Shoulders.
It doesn't work. Fuck you, Head and Shoulders.
Yeah, straight up. I'm with you, man. Head and Shoulders fucking sucks.
Can we get an anti-sponsorship for Head and Shoulders? Can we get people to pay us money to like say about how badly they suck?
Yes. I'm so glad you think so.
You wouldn't have to pay me though. I shouldn't let that out of the bag.
Shit.
Yeah, no, it's never worked for me.
Yeah.
Yeah. No, I fucking hate that shit.
I will let you know. I'm onto a good thing at the moment called Bondi Boost. It's some good shit. It's Australian.
Is it working for you?
It's getting better.
Yeah, it takes time, man.
Absolutely.
Everything fucking takes time.
Living with dandruff sucks dicks.
Yeah, it's pretty bad. I mean, it's not as bad as like a lot of other things. But it's very inconvenient and not very fun.
Agreed.
Yeah.
Agreed. So we're moving on, right?
Yeah, well, I mean, I feel like I've said everything I can say without repeating myself, and is eventually crescendoing into yelling at the camera, being like "fuck you!" Like I can feel myself starting to spiral, and I want to.
It feels very Larry David.
I want to step away from the edge and just that's it.
Very Larry David. Just have a full blown meltdown.
Yeah, no, curb your dandruff rant.
I don't know when this episode's dropping or whatever. Anyway, we're going to see Shang-Chi. We're going to see the premiere of Shang-Chi. We haven't seen it yet.
Yep.
But you have sort of said you don't know a lot about the character.
Right. So I never followed comic books really growing up. So I used to read a lot about, like, when I was 13, ask me anything you want about Animorphs, and I probably could have told you. But I don't have like a strong comic book background. So not only do I not know anything about Shang-Chi, but I was saying to you how the situation I'm in is that I'm not excited for the movie in the sense that I know about it and I can't wait to see it because I want to see what they do with it. I know nothing about it. I'm going in cold. I've seen the trailer. That's, and the trailer really just tells you, hey, there's some superheroes, But for me, I have the favor, like MCU has carried favor with audiences now, where they've gone, hey, we've made 20 movies and you've liked all of them, so we're going to bring out a movie about a character that might be lesser known to the masses, and you're just going to like it. You're going to have to trust us.
Yeah. So, getting started on this. So, going back to Iron Man 3.
Mm-hmm.
So, if you remember, Iron Man 3 is the one where Ben Kingsley played like the fake Mandarin.
Yep.
And even going all the way back to Iron Man 1, they talk about the clan of the Ten Rings, and as a terrorist organization. And then fast forward to number 3, this shady Mandarin character is putting out all these terrorism videos. It's revealed he's not the real Mandarin. There's then in the early MCU days, they were doing these like 10-minute short films that would go on the DVDs. There's one there called Kneel Before the King or something like that. And All Hail the King.
Yeah, it's All Hail the King. Yeah.
And it's revealing that
All Hail the Kingsley.
Yeah.
Yeah.
But it's
Very
revealed that like in prison, he is visited by someone wanting to interview him, and then he's killed by the real Ten Rings organization.
Right.
Because he's brought like ridicule on the name of the Ten Ring.
Yeah. Essentially.
So this is the real Mandarin in this movie, and the Mandarin, obviously, over a number of generations have had the power over these 10 rings. So in the comic books, they're literal. So the Mandarin has a ring on each finger, and each one has different powers.
Yeah.
In the trailers for this, it looks very much more like they're
like a bracelet.
Yeah. There's 5 on each arm. I don't know if they have different powers for each one or whatever, but it looks like those things imbue power on the wearer, and they're passed down from father to son, right?
Yeah.
So in the comic books, Shang-Chi is not the Mandarin's son. I believe he is his nephew.
Okay.
So he's not, but they've changed it obviously probably for dramatic effect. Seems probably far more close to home and more urgent, if it's your father and,
you've got to, like they've done with all these movies as well, you've got to like look at it from the point of view of like a mass audience and not completely breaking everything down.
Yeah,
but
does it matter if it's his uncle or his dad?
Yeah,
probably not.
Well, yeah, it doesn't matter in terms of getting the story right, but it does matter to them in the terms of trying to get it across to the audience
relatively quickly.
Yeah, and you're trying to tell the story to get the best reaction out of the audience, and so far they've got a pretty good reputation of not butchering storylines, but changing them enough so that they work properly.
Yeah, narratively.
Yeah.
So,
because there is a bunch of shit in the MCU that fucking that plays out well in comic books that wouldn't play exactly well in movies.
No, exactly right.
Yeah.
And so, obviously he grew up in China or whatever part of China the Mandarin is from, and he sends Shang-Chi off to the US for education and to like live his life for a little bit. And then, the idea is that he'll come back to inherit the 10 rings and take over the terrorist organization. Obviously he's rebelling against that. He doesn't want anything to do with it.
Yeah.
And, he obviously gets drawn back into it, that sort of stuff. That's really all you kind of need to know, I think, except like,
are we going to have anything to talk about next week now?
Possibly not. Well, I think so. I think there's going to be a lot to do with, like, there's going to be so many Easter eggs, I think, going forward into, like...
Yeah, just peppering you with, hey, foreshadowing for all the things that we've got coming up, because don't forget, there's a whole nother fucking...
There's a whole multiverse thing that's happening right now.
10, maybe 15 movies coming out around,
Yeah, so before the end of the year, there's Eternals.
Yeah.
There's Spider-Man No Way Home. And Shang-Chi, obviously. And, so far this year, we've had the Loki TV series.
I just binged that the other day. Yeah, I did. Okay. I'm up to speed on that now.
Cool. There's WandaVision first.
Yep, WandaVision. I've seen that. I haven't watched the Winter Soldier one yet.
Falcon and the Winter Soldier. Yeah.
Honestly, I'm not super motivated to. It just doesn't. The Captain. I'm gonna maybe be controversial, but it's just movies.
Are you racist, Doug? Is that what's going to happen now?
No. Captain America, the Captain America part of the MCU.
Yeah.
Chris Evans, Anthony Mackie, doesn't matter. Like the whole Captain America sort of saga inside the saga.
Yeah.
Just never really did anything for me.
Right.
I think that's one of the least interesting characters.
Okay.
Yeah. Personally, I think the Captain America movies were perfectly watchable.
Yeah.
But I not pining for more Captain America content.
Yeah. Okay.
You know what I mean?
Well, yeah. I think Falcon as Captain America is actually going to be far more interesting.
Yeah. Well, see, there's another thing as well. So Anthony Mackie.
Yeah.
Just not a favorite actor of mine.
Okay.
Yeah, he's just never really there's been a lot of movies that I've seen him in that just haven't really done much for me either. So once again, color me controversial, but that's part of the motivation. So did you ever watch Altered Carbon?
No.
Okay, so Altered Carbon was a TV show on Netflix that was based on a book. It was about basically people's bodies being like a skin that you wear, as in so everyone's consciousness is uploaded to a disc.
Oh yeah,
right. And it can be transferred between what they call sleeves, which are the actual bodies, right? So they're real human bodies, but everyone's got what they call a stack in the back of their neck, and your stack is like the chip that your consciousness is on.
Okay.
And so that's who you are and who you exist as. But when your sleeve dies, you can be removed and put into another one. And so Altered Carbon, the beauty of it as an anthology series.
Can those bodies reproduce?
I don't know. I don't remember that specifically, but I think they're either organic or they can be made.
Gotcha.
But so the premise of it then was that first season it was Joel Kinnaman from Suicide Squad
and RoboCop.
And RoboCop, yes. Didn't need to mention that. Could have definitely left that one out of the bag.
Yeah, anyway. You got to acknowledge people's shit films.
Yeah, no, he's been in some good stuff, but I don't think that counts. But so the beauty of it was, so his character Takeshi Kovacs was a soldier, and he'd been through a bunch of different sleeves over so many hundred years and fought different wars for different people, and he sort of become a bit of a mercenary.
Right.
And so he gets uploaded into Joel Kinnaman as the actor for this series, and it becomes a bit of a whodunit. He's hired by someone to find out who killed this person. And at the end of it, his sleeve dies. And so the next season they come back and he gets his
Anthony
stack
Mackie.
gets put into Anthony Mackie. And
Great concept for a TV series.
Yeah,
because you
because
can just replace the actor whenever you want. I love that.
Unless you get cancelled because your second season doesn't work well because everyone's attached to Joel Kinnaman, and it's sort of like feels like the Winter Soldier thing for me is it's attached to Joel Kinnaman, and then Anthony Mackie has the unfortunate job of trying to live up to playing the character that person has made popular, and so this is round 2 for him of stepping into the shoes of somebody. You know, and it's an unfortunate consequence that it happened to be a white male lead, and then he's coming in, and so there's the argument to be made, just like, well, you know, like you said, well, is that just you being racist? You just don't like blah blah. No, it's just unfortunate that Anthony Mackie keeps finding himself in a position of having to step into someone's shoes. Yeah, it's like you know, any good fucking franchise, Lethal Weapon. They brought out a new TV series.
Oh, wow. Have you seen it?
Yes.
It's terrible.
Yeah. There's a lot to that.
Yeah.
Yeah. How much time have we got?
Yeah, we got time.
Okay. Terrible. So, all right. So the guy who was cast as Riggs, right?
Yeah.
But can we just take a second as well and just say Lethal Weapon is like one of the best franchises like ever.
Ever. Yeah.
Just so fucking good.
Yeah.
Shane Black, amazing fucking writer, just the best. The guy who gets cast as Riggs, they ask him, he says no. They ask him again, he says no. He's like, no, I don't like the way that it's written. No. And he's
absolute alcoholic, this guy, by the way.
Well, there's
removed from the series.
There's 2 sides to every story, and I've been following both sides.
He got removed from the series for his behavior and his...
There's 2 sides to every story, and I've been following both sides.
Oh,
because I was super fucking excited for Lethal Weapon TV show.
Because, like, I don't mind Damon Wayans either.
Yep. But so the media went, what's his name? It's Clayne Crawford is the guy who was playing Riggs. The media latched onto the side where it's like he's an alcoholic and he's, you know, hard to deal with on set and he's difficult. We had to get rid of him. But then I listened to just like an hour-long podcast where he talked about his side of things. And once again, you never really know for sure, but everything that he explained all checks out with the events and the way that they played out.
Right.
And his take on it was that Damon Wayans didn't want to do the TV show, but he signed up for it because he had he'd had like a heart attack or something like that. Yeah. And they'd already been in talks with him about it. And he was like, I don't really want to do that thing. And he had like a change of heart after this heart attack of being like, you know, maybe I'll give it a go. And what this guy who ended up playing Riggs, Clayne, reckons was that he was sold after he said no a bunch of times. He didn't like how it was written. One of the producers finally came to him and went, no, you know what? We've looked at it. We've reviewed it all. It is going to be the way you want it. We'll make it that way. Come in, let's do it. And he thinks that they said that to Damon Wayans as well. And so Damon Wayans came in and it wasn't the way that he was told.
Yeah, okay.
And so he
so he hasn't like laid blame at the feet of Damon Wayans either.
Pretty much. He said he was a nightmare to work with.
But
but it was because he was coming in and just clocking in, doing his time every day because he clearly didn't want to be there.
The show definitely played out like at least one of them was clocking in and out. It was.
There was a lot of good ideas there and just poor execution.
Yeah.
Yeah.
But also, I'm really of the mind where it's just like, leave it the fuck alone. Why did they ever think that they could do Riggs and Murtaugh and do it like why didn't they make it like this, like a new generation? And why didn't they just do like one of Murtaugh's kids grew up to be a cop and
name a franchise that's done a new generation and it's worked out for them?
I mean, just leave Lethal Weapon the fuck alone. Don't make your show Lethal Weapon.
Let's come back to the same thing that we bring up a lot. Knowing that exists, does that ruin the rest of the franchise for you?
No. But I'd rather just ignore that it ever existed.
Well, I'm glad they had a crack at it.
Yeah.
Because I didn't mind a few episodes of it. There were bits and pieces where I was like, okay, I didn't mind that. Overall, the episode wasn't great, but there were shimmers of hope.
Yeah.
And so I stuck around for maybe 5 or 6 episodes. But the biggest problem there was that you could tell that the chemistry wasn't right. So the casting might have been okay.
Yeah.
But
I kind of went, Damon Wayans, okay, that could work.
Yeah. Yep. And then what they did was they got rid of this Klein guy. They like killed him off. And I think the end of the second
So
season.
who did they replace him with?
Sean William Scott. As a new character, not as Riggs.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Stifler.
Yeah, they got
put
Stifler.
Stifler in.
Yeah.
Oh no.
Yeah, and the first episode
no.
The first episode is him basically you know how Ryan Reynolds has his brand of comedy, right?
Oh boy, that is just stabbing my soul with a red hot poker. Really?
Yeah, so there's
Oh, that's physically hurting me.
What was I saying? Who did I just say? Was
Stifler?
No. Before that was Ryan Reynolds has his brand of comedy, right? And Ryan Reynolds is, his comedy.
He's two guys, a girl, and a pizza place, and
every time.
Yep.
So Sean William Scott doing his brand of comedy, but he wasn't playing Stifler. He was playing like really like well-to-do, like sort of overachieving cop, but with that air of like Sean William Scott kind of like arrogant bro kind of.
Yeah, okay. So he's not chaotic like Riggs is meant to be.
No, he's kind of like, he's a really good cop, but he's got that. So there was a car at the start where he's like seen some guys get into like this SUV with some guns and a duffel bag, and he's a beat cop. Yeah. And he's like, and so they kind of try and do the Riggs thing with him where he's just like, I'm going to go over there and like fucking just
fuck with them. Yeah.
Get in the back of their car and fuck with them, right?
Yeah.
And so he got in the back of the car and he's like dressed as a cop and everything. He's just like, hey, what are you guys doing today? And like opens up this bag and it's just full of socks. Right? And he's just like, oh, what the fuck's all this about? And then this other car pulls up and he realized, it's supposed to be like a drug deal. Yeah. But these guys are going to give a fake bag, take the money and run.
Yeah.
And so he gets out and the bad guy comes out with his fucking gun and he's just like, huh? And then he gets out and he goes, so I was talking to the guys and we're not going to do the big bag of socks deal today. So see ya. And then the guys start shooting. But it's that 100% like Stifler being like finding something in your room and fucking telling everyone on you. That kind of...
That's a jizz-free ficus.
Yeah, that shit. It's exactly, So it doesn't fly. It doesn't work.
But here's the thing, man, is that the titular lethal weapon in the film, Lethal Weapon, is Riggs.
Yeah.
Riggs is the lethal weapon.
Yeah.
If you remove Riggs, it has no business being called Lethal Weapon.
And guess what?
It got cancelled. But like, shouldn't you have just been like, well, you know what? We killed Riggs. Game over.
The worst part about it is, from what I can gather, they killed Riggs at the end of the second season, but they didn't like say to the guy, they didn't say to Klein playing Riggs that he was fired, right? So he thought he was coming back for season 3.
Well,
so,
it was like a fake out killing.
I think it was supposed to be a fake out, but obviously they've written it that way that they could be like, well, let's see what happens.
Oh,
and
no.
You know how he found out that he was fired? Twitter.
Yeah.
Yep. Didn't get a call, didn't get anything, never got an official fucking, hey, you're off the payroll. Just like he talked to his boss for a little bit about like, well, look, I don't know if we can really get you back because it's not my decision.
I always wonder if sometimes that's just a really gutless agent.
Yeah.
Who's like, oh, I can't tell him.
Yeah.
And then when he finds it on Twitter, he's like, oh my God, I'm so outraged.
Yeah.
They didn't even tell me, man. That's garbage.
Yeah.
It's like a really gutless agent who's like,
in the chain.
Oh shit, he is gonna lose his mind. Oh, he's already an alcoholic. How am I gonna get out of this?
Yeah. Well, I mean, the other thing is too, do we know he's an alcoholic?
Yeah, I kind of felt that as I was saying, and I was like,
yeah. The problem is,
I don't know if the guy drinks or not.
The problem
all
is,
I can go on is what I've read.
If you're going to cast a guy as Riggs, right? Yeah. That guy better be a bit rambunctious.
Well, yeah. I mean, not once. And I know it's for TV. I know it's like a different medium. I know it's like it, but like in an age of TV where we have really, really gritty stuff being made.
Yeah.
You don't have to make the 7 p.m. version of Lethal Weapon.
Well, would it surprise you to hear that his biggest problem and his biggest gripe with the production, Clayton
Was that it
Crawford,
was PG?
was he
version?
said no to the thing so many times because he's like, I want long hair
Yeah.
and I want to like look
I want
like
the mullet.
Riggs, right?
Yeah, yeah.
And they were like, no, they wanted him to have like short hair and to be like clean shaven and everything. And he's like, but Riggs, admittedly in the films, Riggs, was clean shaven, but he's like, the whole thing we're going for is
He's wild.
the modern update of it is that he's, come back from, the Middle East and he was a soldier and stuff.
Yeah.
And he's come back to this and he's like, the idea that he's this wild, off the chart kind of dude, but you're going to have him be all clean shaven and good looking and it doesn't make sense. And the other thing was, he's like, I want some, there to be a bit of emotion and a little bit of like, not grit, but, feel this character. But what they wanted was a 7 p.m. blockbuster, like goofy fucking buddy cop movie. And
Yeah.
that's not what it is.
Nah, man, not at all. So, and like the unfortunate thing is now we've actually lost the chance to have Lethal Weapon 5 ever made.
Yeah, I think that's come and gone.
Well, it was actually back on
Right.
up until Richard Donner passed away.
Okay. Yeah.
Because Richard Donner directed all of the,
Yeah.
like, the point of those Lethal Weapon films was that everyone returned every time.
Yeah.
You had Richard Donner directing,
Yeah.
Shane Black writing,
Yep.
Mel Gibson, Danny Glover, the rest of the supporting cast, Joe Pesci
Yep.
came back, the police chief, the therapist,
Yep.
Murtaugh's kids. They're the same actors from 1 through 4.
Yeah.
Then you have the chance to bring in new characters like Chris Rock
Yep.
in the 4th movie, but never do you replace,
Of course.
and so that was the whole. The whole thing of it was family. Dominic Toretto, but you know what I mean. Like, so
Can I say
and now
just,
Richard Donner's gone. That's off the table.
just totally aside, but I was talking with someone about this the other day. So there's a friend of ours that listens to the podcast.
Who is this?
Well, I say a friend of ours. I don't think you really know her,
Oh,
but
okay.
our friend, my friend Kobe. But I say a friend of ours because she's listened to all of these so far, and she got
Hey,
the
Kobe.
inspiration to go back and watch like all the Nicolas Cage movies
Hell
because
yeah.
we were talking about how
Yeah,
good Nicolas
yeah.
Cage is. And I myself and she did the other day. We both went back and watched Gone in 60 Seconds on your recommendation.
Yeah.
And I put to you that it is the best Fast and Furious movie that was never made.
Hell yeah.
Yep.
Yep.
Yep. I think that's the go. But once again, right, a movie like that, I was like, I'm surprised they didn't make a sequel of this, but it would only work if they got back all of those actors.
Yeah.
Because they are what make it work.
Precisely what I was talking about with that film was that film is like so many careers got kicked off from that movie.
Yeah.
That the budget of a second film
Would
have
be
been phenomenally huge.
intense. Yeah.
Huge. Vinnie Jones would have jumped up really heavily. Like,
Yeah.
Anyway, that's another whole Gone in 60 Seconds.
I will
chat.
say as well-
We'll jump off that now.
5-second review of Gone in 60 Seconds. It feels like Michael Bay's little brother made it. And it is a bunch of moments strung together. I don't think it's, I think it's about a 6.5 out of 10 movie that feels like an 8.
Yeah, you're probably not wrong there.
Yeah.
Probably not wrong there.
Yeah.
I mean, yeah, we've gone from Shang-Chi all the way through to Lethal Weapon.
We've covered a bunch of shit. Yeah. I never actually brought up a tune because I'm
Yeah, I noticed you haven't mentioned Every Time I Die this week.
I'm redacting my tune for this week, I think, because I've been
Was it because it's too obvious?
so I've had a bit of a busy week, and
Fair call.
I'd rather skip to my my chat.
Yeah, let's do it.
So unfortunately, on Saturday, my wife is totally fine. She's all in one piece, and everything's great. She's a little bit sore, but she was in a car crash, and it was on the Riverside Expressway, and so
Possibly the shittiest place to have an accident to.
Middle
by the way.
lane.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Oh no.
yeah, Elizabeth Street exit. Like it was all just fucking yeah, just the worst place.
Yeah, that's not great.
But so, yeah, she was the third car out of 5. And essentially what happened was that...
Right in the high diddle diddle.
What?
You've never heard that?
No.
The middle, the high diddle diddle.
Oh, right.
Oh, fuck me.
That feels like a lot of effort for the middle. Why do we have to go to all this effort? Like, Australian rhyming slang has never made a lot of sense to me in the sense that
the high diddle diddle of the frog and toad.
Yeah, we go so far out of our way to say something that's not a secret. So why are we making it into code? Why do we?
I'm sorry I made an effort.
Well, I've learnt something today, so that's the main thing. Every day is a new day. But yeah, so without going too far into the details of it,
insurance purposes.
For insurance purposes. But someone's decided to make a turn at the last second, and out of the 5 cars, like 4 of them have all stopped in time, the last one didn't, and so everyone's got buggered up. She got hit so hard from behind that her seat jumped off the rail and slid all the way back. So you can imagine she's got the old whip and the lash. But so I wanted to ask you, I've been in a few, minor traffic accidents at like stoplights and things like that. But have you got one that stands out for you that's,
Yeah. When I was about, I think I was 17, I was in grade 12, I think. Actually, I got 2. So one was sort of middle of the year when I was in grade 12, and then the second one was like the day before I was meant to graduate high school.
Fuck.
And it was like, so the one in the middle of the year, I was hanging out with my mate Graham, and his brother was a couple of years older than us, and his brother just got his first car, and he was going on a trip in the morning, like he was going to Mackay or something or other. And he lived like just north of Rocky. So I was at my mate's house just north of Rocky. And he worked at the servo in town, and he was like, I get a hectic discount on my fuel. So do you guys want to come in for a drive with me, get something from the servo to eat, like a pie, whatever. It's like, it's like 11 o'clock at night. You've been up playing video games. That sort of stuff.
You're not really going for the saving. You're going just for a burn. And
exactly, right? Yeah. And he's like, oh, do you guys want to come for a burn with me? I need to fill the car up before my trip tomorrow morning. Come for a run. I'm like, yeah, sweet. And I figure the only time I'm going to get out of the car is to go in, get a pie or a sausage roll or something, some stupid late night snack. So I won't bother with shoes. And so we go into the middle of town, we fill up, and then we're on the main drag of Rockhampton. It was Musgrave Street on the north side, and we did a U-turn to get to the lights heading back north again. And we had, it was a red light, and as we were sort of slowing down for the red light, it went green.
Yeah.
And so we were like, we never fully stopped. We just like sort of slowed down, and they went, oh, green, cool, and took off. But there was a turning lane there. And this dude came through in like some like bomby little Cortina or something, and he just went, oh, I'll get across there in front of the traffic.
Because you were still slowing down, so he's already decided to go, and then you've gone to take off.
And so he's just gunned it. And so then all of a sudden and he's come through and just like hit it right on the like driver's side headlight.
Yep.
And just like 360'd us.
Fuck.
Yeah. And like
just a love tap.
Yeah. And like I was like, like I said, I was 17. I didn't have my license yet. I was like really like shaken up pretty hard. And on that corner, now there's like I think it's like a cash converters or something now. But on that corner used to be like a Mexican restaurant, like a Tex-Mex restaurant called Cactus Jack's.
Yeah.
And so like
very familiar with Cactus Jack's. Yeah. I've eaten my fucking weight in like wings at Cactus Jack's.
Chimichangas.
Yeah.
And so like they spun us around, and like I just got out of the car. I'm like walking barefoot through all the glass and all sorts of shit and cut my feet up. And but it's winter too. It was like July, and so I'm freezing. And I was like sitting on the corner, like just like shivering. And I was really, really thankful. There was like some people in the restaurant that knew me. Like they were like my like family friends.
Yeah.
And they like came out and like just like sat with me and like helped my friends
Hey,
out.
buddy,
And,
what's going on?
yeah. And like everyone sort of like everyone came out of the restaurant, like tried, like helped everyone out and all that sort of stuff. But this dude was like not insured, like the dude who hit us was like not insured in the slightest.
Yeah.
And like my mate's brother, poor dude, like all he could do was just like declare this dude bankrupt. And then like he just didn't have a car anymore. It really sucked. It was like, I think it was pre like compulsory third party days.
Right.
Yeah. So like,
I didn't realize there was pre.
Yeah. It was like, yeah, there was like, like there's a time where before that you like just didn't have to.
Yeah.
Like it was optional.
Because now it's part of your rego. Like you're
correct.
you've got your not. That,
I think it's to avoid situations like
not
this.
even that you've got to have it, but like it's a condition of the car being registered that it exists. So like no fucking insurance, no go, brother.
And the other one was I had this mate from high school. He had dropped out of school and he went to work for his dad as a plumber, right? And like day before school graduated, like it was a Thursday. I was graduating school on the Friday. It was like the last day of school before we went away to schoolies, right?
Yeah.
Anyhow, his dad had this ute that had like, you know, those really big toolboxes like on the back, like that are generally like bolted into the back of a like a ute. Yeah. Anyway, he's like, "Oh, hey man, like I really need some help. My dad's told me to get these like toolboxes off the back of the ute. I really need some help like lifting them off. If I come and get you from your house, take you to my house, will you help me take the toolboxes off the back of the truck and then I'll drop you home again?"
Yeah.
I was like, "Sure, man, whatever." Anyway, so he comes and gets me. It's been raining.
Yeah.
Comes and gets me and we have to do like, again, it's a U-turn. And so it's like right outside my school.
Yeah.
Like where we had to do this U-turn. And he's like, "Oh, it's a bit wet. We'll light it up, eh?" And I'm like,
no.
Not really. Anyway, but he does it anyhow. So as he goes around the thing, he like stomps on the gas, fishies it out, and then like never regains it. And then so oh man, I can't tell you how close we went to a big, big tree and wrapping my side of the car around the tree. But as it turned out, we smashed the front passenger side wheel up on like into the gutter, right? Real hard. And it pushed it right up into the like the wheel mount, into the like the wheel arch. And then just all the way home it's just going like the wheel, the tires
still
just
decided to drive home.
Yeah, well, he had to. And then he's like, "I'm going to have to," he's like, "Dude, you're going to have to, like, we're going to have to get our story straight here."
Why?
Well, because it's his dad's ute. It's fucked.
Oh, right.
He's like, "We're going to tell him someone was like tailgating us and we tried to get out of their way."
Yeah, that shit doesn't work.
No. Anyway.
How old?
We're like 17.
Yeah, no. They fucking see right through that, man.
Not my problem. I didn't do it. Yeah, I went there. I helped him get those.
Yeah, no, definitely not. But like, yeah, in hindsight, that guy will be like, "Fucking, why did I ever think I'd get away with that?"
Yeah, I was like, "Take me the fuck home, dude. Yeah. Don't ever call me again. Like, don't make me lie to your parents. I don't want to fucking see you."
Yeah,
and I've never seen him since.
Right.
Yeah, I was like, "Fuck you, dude." Like,
well, that's the way that shit works.
Yeah, I was like, "You just about killed me, dude."
Yeah,
for your dad's fucking toolboxes. Go fuck yourself,
man. You want to speak about go fuck yourself?
Oh,
there was a fucking guy. So when I was working out west, we, a lot of these young dudes have fucking like that work out there have like Monaros and you know, like what they think are basically sports cars that they can just fucking go for a whip in. But it wasn't one of the young dudes. It was one of the older blokes who was a welder on this site. We'd been at the pub that night. And the way the camp works is it's about, it's over about 500 or 600 meters. It's like a resort. It's a big laid out thing. And down near the front of the camp is where the mess hall is and there's car parking and shit.
Yep.
And most of our crew were staying at the very far villas up the back.
Yep.
And so it's a fair walk to get to and from the pub. And one of these guys, who was a younger bloke, had driven his like hotted up Falcon down to the mess hall, and we'd all gone and had some drinks, and he was just going to like leave it there and then walk back. He just drove down because he wanted to get down there faster. And we'd all had a fair bit to drink, and this old bloke was like, "Oh yeah, you've got the hotted up bloody Falcon out the front, haven't you?" And he goes, "Oh yeah, that's mine." And he goes, "Oh, like I've always wanted one of those." He goes, "You know, well, are you just going to leave it out the front? Like, you know, we just drive it out the back." And he's like, "Oh, I wasn't gonna." He goes, "Oh, well, because it's a closed off thing, and it's all 5 or 10 Ks through the thing." He's like,
how bad can it be?
How bad can it be? And he's like, oh, all right, fair enough.
Famous last words.
And we're all 18, right? And we're like, oh, well, we want to lift back to our room. Fuck it. We're only going to be going on the 10K an hour little windy road through up to the villas. But this resort is on a fucking like an empty highway that goes all the way out to Moranbah.
Yeah.
And so this guy is backed out, and instead of turning right to go up to the villas, turns left and goes out on the highway. So there's 3 of us across the back seat, all 18. The dude who's like 20 owns a car, and this old bloke in his 40s that should fucking know better.
No.
He's like, oh, I just want to give it a bit of a strap. And mate's like, nah, I don't think so. Too late. Foot down. We got up to 240.
No.
Yeah, it's fucking really hotted up. So we're sitting in the back seat, and the guy that's sitting in the middle next to me, we got up to about...
Were you like, this is how I die?
All of us are like, hey man, no, this isn't fucking cool. Stop. You need to stop. And he's like, oh yeah, I know, but it goes all right. I know what I'm doing. And the guy in the middle seat takes his seatbelt off. I'm like, what are you doing? He goes, man, this thing crashes. Seatbelt's not going to do anything. It's going to fucking cut us in half. And I'm like... okay, like that's the position we're in.
Holy shit!
Next day, the guy got like pulled up by the bosses and was like, we would just about sack you over this, but pretty much you have to go apologise to those young men that you could have fucking killed.
So someone dobbed him in there.
Yeah, and you know, you're first on the list when we're giving pink slips and getting rid of people and stuff, you know?
Whoa.
So they didn't fire him, but they basically said like, when the first round of redundancies coming up, you're the first one to go.
You're out.
Yeah. But so I can say that I've been I've done 240. That's my land speed record. I've done 240 Ks in a, yeah.
Jesus
and live to tell the tale.
Christ.
But this is the problem when you hang out in those places, you know?
Yeah, fuck that.
Everyone thinks they're fucking bulletproof, so.
Fuck all that.
Exactly like you said, though. That's when you go, oh, okay, well, I'm never having anything to do with you again as a person.
Yeah, absolutely.
Fuck yourself sideways.
Yeah, that's a death wish for sure.
Yeah, and it just, cars, man.
Yeah, death traps.
Yeah.
Yep, killer machines, man.
Yeah, every fucking day. And you don't even have to be moving. My favorite thing on the insurance claim was it asks if your vehicle was moving at the time of the accident, because the reality is you could just be parked up.
Yeah, absolutely.
And someone just comes off the road and...
Yeah, you could be stationary at a light.
That too.
I've unfortunately been the person who braked far too late.
Yep.
And hit someone, yeah.
It happens.
I came up over a crest and there's a red light. Oh, shit.
Yep.
And there's no amount of brakes that you can apply that will ever stop you in time.
I used to play a rally game on my computer. It was like a Windows 98 rally game.
Yes.
World Rally Championships.
Okay. Did you ever have Monster Truck Madness?
No, I didn't have Monster Truck Madness.
Oh, what a banger.
Yeah.
Monster Truck Madness.
Yeah, if we're going to talk about fucking around in cars, if it's a video game, it's cool.
Yeah.
It's totally fine. Run over as many people as you want. Just go ham. It's fucking great.
There's a GTA. They're remastering 3 of the old GTA games.
Oh, give me some Vice City. Give me some Vice City.
Yeah, it's getting remastered, man.
Man, flock of seagulls.
Yes. Dude, GTA Vice City is begging for a movie to be made.
Well, see, no, that's what's funny about it, right?
Well,
GTA Vice City
is based on like
is all the 80s movies boiled down into a video.
Scarface and Miami Vice all put into a movie, into a game. I know.
You know what that is, right? That's like taking a steak, putting it in a blender, and then making a shaped steak like patty
out of the pieces.
You know, like and trying to make it like photo real. Like you can't. You've already broken it down.
Okay. All that aside, who is your dream Tommy Vercetti and Lance Vance? In 2021.
Vince Vaughn is Tommy Vercetti.
Oh, isn't that too old though?
He's too old now, but he would have been the perfect.
It would have
Tommy
been
Vercetti.
at the time. Yeah. Absolutely.
Yeah. And so we're talking. Who would you say for Lance Vance? That's a really good one, actually. I mean, like, I feel like it's Jamie Foxx.
No, that's a cheat. That's a cheat because
Why?
the Miami Vice movie had Jamie Foxx.
Yeah, but he wasn't playing Lance Vance.
Yeah, they're basically playing Tubbs and Crockett, though, aren't they?
That's for you to decide.
Yeah.
Tell us in the comments. Is that in the comments? In the comments, tell us, is it cheating to cast Jamie Foxx as Lance Vance?
I would have gone with far more of a comedian.
A comedian, right?
Than Jamie Foxx.
What's your, give us your dream Tommy Vercetti and Lance Vance.
I
Right, so we're talking,
2003.
Yeah, like when it came out, I think you've got to be looking at like who would have been perfect at the time.
Yeah. Yeah.
So you're looking at someone that's sort of like 5 o'clock shadow, kind of would be fit in a Scorsese movie, kind of, I guess.
Yeah.
You have that sort of like, part of the family kind of vibe.
Like Lance Vance, I feel like it's probably more like it's not even Chris Tucker, is it? Like Chris Tucker's way too high pitched.
Yeah, no, Lance Vance he's cool.
He is.
He's cool motherfucker.
He is, but then like how he gets like more and more paranoid as the game goes on.
Yeah, you're right. Yeah, there is that element.
He's like, don't forget about me, man.
Yeah.
And then that's what, like, spoiler alert, that's why he turns on you.
Yeah.
And takes that's my favorite mission, is going to take back your mansion.
Yes.
Back, like, and, taking the mansion back.
Yeah.
I loved fanging in there in the Lamborghini.
Yep.
Like, knock off, getting out with the chain gun.
Yep.
It's been
the only thing
taking out all of his guards.
If they ever bring Vice City back, the only thing they could improve about that game is the swimming and shit. Because
you couldn't swim. If you fell in the water, you died.
No, that's what I mean.
Yeah.
To add that sort of shit.
Yeah.
Because at the time, you're like, well, this kind of sucks. I wish I could swim. Definitely it was, just one thing that made the game a little bit more challenging. But like if they were to do a remaster of that game, you'd want all of the same crazy destructiveness, but with a little bit more sort of like leeway, because you're like, oh man, I've got this fucking chain gun and I've got all this shit and I've like built myself up and then I fell in the water and now I guess Italians can't swim.
Dude, how many times did you attempt that drone helicopter mission? Holy fuck, I almost threw myself off my roof.
I've got a secret to tell. How late are we in the podcast?
Oh,
no one
who
will hear
cares?
this, so they can't lynch me for it, but I'll probably clip it out and fuck myself anyway. I never actually finished Vice City. I scummed a save off my cousin.
That got you past that point?
They got me. He just had finished the game. And I scummed. So I probably got halfway through the game and like shit like the helicopter thing, and I was like, fuck this.
Once I passed that, the rest of the game's actually fairly
I've never been any good at video games either.
Same.
Yeah.
And I suck at video games.
So I'm like, I don't want to go through, like, if there's a mission that I don't want to do and it's the one that I have to get past to get onto the next thing, I'll stop fucking playing.
That was the thing, man. Like, if you didn't pass all of those ones, it didn't open up the bridge to the other side to keep the...
Yes. Yeah.
So it didn't matter what order you did them in, but like whatever one you hadn't done, it wouldn't unlock the next thing.
Which is exactly why I scummed a save, because I'm a fucking casual video game player at best.
Same.
And what I wanted was to be able to put on GTA for half an hour and have unlimited money and fucking access to
all
everything,
the guns
and all the cheats, and just go ham for half an hour and then put it down. That was my shit.
Oh, don't get me wrong. I use the cheats for like all the weapons and whatever all the time.
Yeah.
But
I can probably still remember the PS2 cheats for like
PC
for health and right.
I only ever played it on PC. Yeah.
Right. Yeah.
Yeah. I like those kind of games on console. I'm terrible at.
I prefer.
I will say though,
GTA.
I still remember the entire map.
Yeah,
I can. You tell me where to go. I can go. Yeah, I know. I can get there.
Yeah, no, I did so many taxi missions. Holy shit! Because when you finish the game, quote unquote, finish the game. When you have a finished game,
the finished game's like you've only done. If you've only done the missions, it's like 40% done.
Yeah, there's still so much shit to do. Yeah, holy fuck. There's so much to say
I do love
about
that game though. That was, I will say that I think that's my like all time.
It was the game that I first hurt my thumbs playing. So, you know, when you play something for so long that you start, I suppose on PC gaming, you start to get like a hand crap.
You get
on
WASD.
WASD fucking palsy in your hand. You can't move it and you're getting cramps and it's like, oh, I think I've broken it forever. There's that, but I would get from holding down like X for run or you know, for jumping and shit. I would be stabbing buttons or holding down buttons for so long that my thumbnails would get like sore and bruised.
Yeah. Oh God.
Yeah, but I didn't own a console. It was my cousin. We had school holidays together for 2 weeks, and he came to Caloundra to my grandparents' place, and so did I. And all he wanted to do was go out and surf and shit. And I was like, "Did you bring your PS2 with you? Because I'm going to stay inside for 2 fucking weeks." And holy shit, man, I just murdered the fuck out of that game. I love that so much.
Yeah, absolutely.
Get in the comments. Give us your best Tommy Vercetti, and your best Lance Vance, and can you name what was the other the really like the rich motherfucker on the yacht? What was his name? No, yeah.
Oh, I know the one you're talking about. Yeah.
That has the like the chain and everything. And
can't remember, but I do remember that all the like the voice actors in it are actually like really big.
Oh yeah, who did do Tommy Vercetti?
I'm pretty certain it's Andy Garcia.
Really? We're gonna check. So Andy Garcia would just make a good Tommy Vercetti, or would have at the time anyway. Tommy Vercetti. Oh Google, why you got to be like this?
Is it Andy Garcia or is it? No, it's
Ray Liotta.
Yeah.
Of course, dude. And you know what? Dye his hair black and he would have been the perfect Tommy Vercetti.
Who plays Lance Vance?
Because he was the perfect Tommy Vercetti. Who plays Lance Vance? Yeah. Oh, Lance Vance. Lance Vance dance. Philip Michael Thomas.
Oh, yeah, I know who that is. Wow, he looks like he's straight out of Miami Vice.
Yeah, he probably is. They probably found him in Miami Vice. Like he was trapped inside it and they pulled him out and said, do this voice. And then they put him back.
Oh my God.
Well, okay. In the comments, give us your dream casting for Vice City. And while you're at it, tell us what your favorite GTA game is. Honestly, Vice City would be my favorite, but I probably actually put more hours into San Andreas.
Oh, man, I couldn't get past that train level.
Yeah.
I just couldn't get past it.
Oh,
you had one job, CJ.
I may have
catch the train, and that was it.
I may have scummed an extra save for that one too.
You dog. You dog.
Don't fucking judge me.
Yeah, no, I didn't get that far in San Andreas. I gave it a number of hours, but I just couldn't get past that.
Once again, if the missions get to be too difficult, and I say too difficult for like a fucking toddler, I cap out. I'm sorry, that's the way I am. That's why I like the Uncharted games. I play them on very easy, and I just fucking dig the story, and I just murk a bunch of people, and I feel no fucking guilt about taking the easy route.
Do you know how I escape this?
How?
I played the Lego games.
Yeah.
They're made for 5-year-olds.
Yep.
5-year-old can solve them.
Yep.
I'm in heaven.
Also,
oh man, Lego Star Wars, it's a dream.
Anyone that wants to make you feel bad about the fact that you're not good at a fucking particular video game.
Eat shit, I don't have all day.
What's it? Yeah, exactly. Eat shit, I don't have all day. Tim Price, 2021.
Yeah. Fucking oath. Like, it's just not.
Yeah.
Like, my God. Like, I dream of having that amount of time, but I just don't.
Yeah.
And like, it makes it really difficult. Like games like Jedi Fallen Order. I try to play all the Star Wars games that come out because, I love to just dig into the lore of Star Wars and all that sort of stuff.
You want to soak up all what they've got to give.
Yeah. If there's new Star Wars content, I'm consuming it, right?
Yeah.
And like, I'm just not good enough
Yeah.
to like. I'll even on easy, like I'll play that and like I overthink things.
I saw the TikTok that you shared the other day as well about the chick saying, "Hey, game developers, if you've got like a really great story game, give us a fucking very easy mode just all the time. We don't need your normal mode being fucking really difficult. If you've made this great story, it's like fucking making an amazing movie, but you've got to do an obstacle course to get in to fucking see the thing. Like it's not about that."
Yeah, and I overthink stuff as well. Like I think, it can't be that simple. And generally is. So I run around for an hour being like, what the fuck? And then it's like, it's really blatant right in front of me. And I'll be like, oh.
Also,
and at that point, I'm like, oh, God, get my phone out, YouTube tutorial. Oh, I passed that 10 times. What the hell?
And why do you think we've entered the era of Let's Plays? In the last 10 years, people have started to go, hey, the internet's good enough now that we can stream games and we can play shit. And why would you struggle to play a game that you're not fucking good at, that you just want to see the game?
Yeah.
When you could watch someone else play it, you know?
I mean, this gets us into a whole other realm of like multiplayer gaming.
Yeah.
So again, another Star Wars game. I bought the, what was it called? It was the latest like
the Battlefield one that they did, or
no, the flying one. It's like, was it Rogue Squadron? No, that was the old one. The
whatever the latest one is.
The latest one was like you fly X-wings and all that sort of stuff, right? And it's
sounds super lame.
No, like it's really really good, but like I bought it the weekend it was out.
Yeah,
I started playing it the weekend it was out, just thinking like, if I just get involved in this game immediately, no one else will be any better.
Yeah.
People immediately were just decimating me.
Steamrolling,
Steaming. And I was just like, my God, this is just not fun. Like, and I had my cousin and I were in like the same squadrons all the time. We were like trying to figure this out. He's a good game player. Yeah. I'm not. He's like, how are you meant to win this?
Yeah.
How? Like this, I was just getting absolutely destroyed. So much of it was a lot of fun.
Yeah.
But my God, because like you can play VR on that. I don't have a VR headset, but like I can imagine the immersive experience that VR would be on that. I wish I could have done that.
I think some of the best games too, and this is why I want to play Broforce with you. Some of the best games are a quick reset when you die.
Yeah.
Because if you want to experience the game, the last thing you want is to be fucking tapped out for 10, 15, 30 seconds at a time.
Dude, this
especially when you're getting fucking steamrolled by someone, and every time you get 15 seconds of gameplay in, and then you get fucking out while you take a 15-second respawn.
There's that, but then also like once you get defeated, then you got to find like you go back into the lobby and it finds you. And it's like 20 minutes finding you a new game as well.
Yeah.
Or a new like...
And that was one of the hugest problems with GTA Online, was the fact that their servers are really unstable. So sometimes you get kicked out for just no good reason. The server would just be shit, or you get in there and there'd be fucking, a full lobby full of people, and you don't even get with the first minute before someone finds you and kills you.
Yeah.
And then you've got to try and get back in, and then that server. And there's so many of these games where they haven't thought out that people just want time in the game, as opposed to spend their half an hour because they don't have time trying to get into a lobby.
Did you ever play, and I don't know if you've had a console in the last couple of years or not, but did you ever play Red Dead Redemption 2?
No, I didn't, no. So
I bought it a couple of years ago, almost as like a Christmas present to myself.
Yeah.
And I bought it when I was up in Rockhampton. I brought it home to Brisbane to like play when I got back. And man, that's a game that like you can just play and do whatever you want. You can get involved in the campaign or not, or you can just walk around and make a life for yourself. And man, I spent a lot of time just walking around patting horses.
Yeah. Yep.
Oh man,
it's just, all what you get out of it.
I went around just getting as many horses as I wanted.
Yeah.
And just spending a lot of time combing their manes.
Yep.
And he's sitting there going, that's a good girl. Just like, Oh, yeah.
Yeah,
Like,
just-
I was this man, I spent so much time patting horses
Yep.
and feeding the horses
Yep.
and just walking around in like old-timey America, walking into the saloon, playing some cards,
Yep. The old the play a
old
piano in the background
play-
and
plinky plonk piano in the background, getting
Yep.
into a boozed up fight.
yep. Westworld without the murdery
Androids,
robots.
yep.
Yep.
Having a drink, upgrading my guns.
People
Not ever getting into any gunfights.
people
I
forget
spent such an amount of time just like changing my wardrobe, being like, do I like that hat?
video games are an escape.
Yeah.
You know, and for some people, they're like just murderous competition and they want to get in there and they want to get just absolutely fucking just down to brass tacks. But for us, we like, you know, I want to go into fucking GTA. You know what I did in Vice City for so many years was I would just hit the same, like I'd just see how much further I could get a bike to go off a jump. How much fucking higher I could go, how crazy I could make the same jump every time.
Yeah.
Because I just want to escape. I just want to escape.
Yeah.
That's part of the reason why we do this.
Yeah.
It's just to be able to fucking just hang out and just, you know, chat about shit, low stakes, fucking, you know.
I can't, like, I spend an inordinate amount of time in Red Dead just like thinking of names to call my horse.
Next week's podcast, we're just going to dedicate it to Tim's Red Dead Redemption.
We didn't even talk. Okay. We should. All right. Let's finish
We
this
do
episode.
have
up.
to wrap. Yep.
Okay. Give us a clap.